Hey Nate, do you make it go full screen?
What's that?
Because I know we recording at Riverside, right? But oh, here it is.
Yeah, it'll be full screen on our YouTubes. Just in the studio, it looks different.
I swear it does, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. Let me see. Let me see. Hey, it's funny when the boys call and are laughing about the video that you made and shit, right? Like the video I made about the fucking Green Beret lady
Mm-hmm.
or the whatever the fuck she is, the Army Ranger.
Right.
And like Ben and Aaron and they're like, yo, bro, are you serious? I'm like, that shit was. I was crying. I was crying the whole time, mate, making it, Nate. Like I literally was like, oh
Did
my
I
god,
watch it? I'm like, oh, this is unhinged, dude.
oh my god, this is. Oh man, oh man. All right, why am I not? Oh wait, I know why I'm not live. Okay, I gotta come over here.
All right, I'll be live here in a sec. Navyseal.
Oh wait, I'm not streaming with OBS. I'm streaming through Riverside with you.
Yeah, you just got to go turn it on your
Hang
YouTube
on, bro.
studio.
Listen. Hang on.
Remember, we're the backside's gonna have this live of everything
I
we're saying
know.
right now.
Listen. I was smoking crack cocaine. Okay, like literally, I'm over here. I'm like, man, I don't remember doing any of this. This doesn't look right. Like,
No,
okay,
all you
Navy
got to do is
SEAL versus Green
just
Beret.
go to
It's
your
this
YouTube and you're
one.
good.
Customize. Wait. Why is this looking different?
Whoops. Chat replay.
Oh my goodness.
You good? I'm about to send mine live.
No, I don't know. It's different. It's different than when I did it in. I'm on my computer now, and for some reason it's different. But
You should go to your control room and just be able to change the settings in YouTube Studio.
I'm in YouTube Studio. I see it. Like I pulled it up. So oh, I just did it here. Okay, view in control room. All right, I know what I did wrong. All right,
All right, I'm sending mine public. Here we go.
mine looks public. Mine's rolling. Good to
Here we go.
go. All right, we good.
We should be up. You never know. Wait for the first person in chat, and then I'll know.
Oh, Jenks, we back, baby. Look, we got it started. We got it started at 2:00, Nate. Oh my God. Oh
Yeah,
my
almost.
God. What are we doing?
What were we on time? We're pretty much on time today. That's
On
shocking,
time.
everyone.
Somehow we did it.
Shocking.
Man, oh man. All right. So I can see the chat in my studio, but I'm super delayed. So
I can hear you through the.
hang on, man.
You got an echo.
Yeah. I got. So I always play my comments on my YouTube, but 90% of the time I'm looking at your comments. So I'm double checking it.
All right.
Like golly.
I got
Right,
you guys
we're rolling.
chat. I got one person in the chat. What's going on? Everybody here?
I got 31 people over here. So. All right, there we go. We good. We cooking with gasoline, Nate.
Send message every 1 minute. What the fuck is that?
Oh, Nate.
That shouldn't be like that. Hold on.
Let me see if I can turn my volume. You're really quiet, Nate.
Okay. Yeah, my mic's all reset. Let me turn it up. Good. Check.
Yeah.
Check.
A lot better.
Check. Check.
Lot better.
Okay.
Right there.
Woo!
Folks, there's a lot going on, man. We got some dang female Army Ranger. I'm going to give you the sidebar.
Sorry, guys.
Can you hear me?
I had my slow mode. Everybody could only talk one time every minute. I had to change it. I think we should be good now. All right, here come the comments. Now we're good. Fucking A. All right, we did it, guys. We're only 2 minutes over. Faster than usual.
Hey, man. I ride short bus every day when it comes to audio visual stuff. I'm just on the short bus. That's who I am.
Just constantly.
Hey, for all
so go ahead.
Go ahead. No, for all you guys raging on my female Ranger video, just let you know she's the supply chief. She hands out jock straps and socks. So let's not lose our minds that she's on the line carrying a gun.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that today, guys. We talked about this on Friday. The video I put out is very popular right now about the new fitness standards. We're going to talk about the Ranger School fitness standards. We're going to talk about the new combat fitness standards. We don't know what they are, but I think me and Jake both know why the military is making these changes. And it's mainly to keep women off the front lines. We'll talk about that if it makes sense.
Nate, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. I don't think it's made to keep women off the front lines. It's made to keep people off the front lines that aren't capable of doing a job. Because you said it.
That's a better way of saying it.
You said it before during that whole time of let's get more women in here and all that craziness. You guys had a bunch of dudes showing up to teams that had no business being there.
True. Yep. Yeah, it goes for men. It's men and women. We'll talk about that. Yep. The Ranger School. Have you looked at the new Ranger School standards yet, Jay? And luckily, I figured out how to share a screen on Riverside now,
I
so
did.
We'll be able to have some.
I mean, I'm just going to tell you this. They look like a complete ball buster. Like
it looks much.
Anytime you got to run, work out, and then run again, like I'm going to tell you, the Navy SEAL PT test, man, you're doing a 500-yard swim, push-ups, pull-ups, and sit-ups in 10 minutes, and then you're running a mile and a half. If that was a 3-mile run, like in the real SEALs, it's a 3-mile run. You're like, yo, like now I'm gonna say this: when you're in the SEAL teams, it's the easiest shit in the world because you're in SEAL shape. But
yeah,
I know when you're trying to get to SEALs and you do the 3-mile run at the end of push-ups, pull-ups, and sit-ups, and a 1,500 or 1,000-yard swim, bruh, no bueno.
We'll talk about that too. So we have the ACFT, the Army Combat Fitness Test, guys, and that's what's going to be used as the new combat standard. So they're not changing any tests. What they're doing is changing the score on that test as a required score for you to be in a combat arms unit. And the ACFT actually does have that same similar thing where you do like 6 workout events and then go straight into the 2-mile run. And that 2-mile run is way worse than it is on your normal PT test because you did deadlifts, you did a sled drag, shuttle carry, planks, like all this stuff on top of it. And yeah, I mean, the Ranger School PT test looks like that, and then maybe even a little bit harder for lower body. We'll show that here on the screen here in a second. Okay, we're good. I got people strolling in now. Yeah, so what's your overall take on, let's start with this, on women in combat arms? Because I know obviously Secretary Hegseth has made it very clear. He said, I do not think women should be in combat arms, period. End of statement. He said it. I mean, no ifs, ands, and buts about it. What's your feelings overall? Are you a staunch absolutely not? Do you think there's gray room for this?
So the 2 things come to mind. And I go back to our conversation we had maybe a year ago, Nate, about 2 females on a forward operating base with, let's say, 75 men on the base, right? You have a female-male dynamic with some of the top meat-eating males in the world. And I'm just going to tell you, it always leads to debauchery. That's what it does. I'm going to be nice about it. It always leads to debauchery, okay? There's no such thing as having one female in a SEAL team, like on a SEAL platoon, and at some point it's not going to get debaucherous. Physical standards aside, like we haven't had anybody make it farther than 4 days in training. Not a single female has made it 4 days.
In buds?
In buds. Like she made it 4 days into training, hasn't made it far. We haven't had one. We had a bunch of them start, didn't make it through day 1. I think The distraction of trying to get a female capable of making it is not worth the mental anguish of the whole unit.
Yeah.
Um, I use Major Gibbons as an example. She's a ranger officer in the 75th. She works in supply. She has phenomenal numbers. Okay, she doing L-sit rope climbs. Okay, she represents the top 0.00001%. There's 15 of her in the country. Okay, she was able to get it done. A bunch of dudes in her ranger class that she did not stand out. She was in the middle of the pack. She did just fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but like I can tell you this, just did a video on it. You look at her lower body, Nate. She was a little skinny, 105-pound cheerleader, is my guess.
Yeah.
Now she's probably 135 pounds with a big ass donkey donk on the back that was made from thousands of reps of squats and deadlifts and already, you know what I mean? Like she had to build her body. But those West Point people, I tell everybody, man, them Naval Academy girls, man, they just built different. So, is it worth the distraction? No.
Here's my pushback on the physical side of things. When you talk about she can do all the physical standards, my pushback is those standards are almost all body weight standards, right? So it's her own, but yeah, she's got a 20-pound weight vest on. She's climbing the rope. That's fine. She's all of these standards are sort of, and this is what the new combat standards is going away from. It's one standard for everybody. So the deadlift, you don't get, as a girl, you don't get a deadlift 200 pounds 3 times. You got a deadlift 315 pounds. And looking at her or any 130-pound woman or man, my biggest criticism is let's talk about how big operators are in combat under full combat load. And now talk about me at 230, 240 pounds. And I'm not even the biggest guy on my team. 120 pounds of kit on average. That's 360 pounds. I go down, and this has happened to my teammates. We've had our teammates in near ambushes get hit by grenades unconscious and have to get drug out by dudes on our team. One of those dudes was 400 pounds in kit. Samoan dude on my team, the biggest dude you'll ever see.
Samoan, 5'11".
Absolutely huge. In our 18, he was knocked unconscious. Him and another teammate in our 18 Delta were hit by grenades thrown over the top of a wall. And our 18 Delta was the only one still standing as he fought his way through. He got the Silver Star for this. Fought his way through, eliminated all the threats, and then had to pick up and drag that 400-pound body out of a ditch. And do you think that 130-pound girl could do that? I don't believe she could. I do not believe that she could do that with my body. That to me is the breakpoint issue. Okay. Yes, maybe you can run and gun. I'm not concerned about that. Women can shoot guns better than men can. I'll tell you this as a firearms instructor, from a marksmanship standpoint, women actually progress a lot faster than men do. But as for real combat, real war, the physicality and things you're going to have to do, I don't believe that she could pull me out of my unconscious 370-pound body dead weight out of a ditch and get me to safety. I don't believe she could do it.
So Nate, let me say this. I'm going to change this conversation from he and she to a 130-pound person. Okay, because here's the deal. Dude at SEAL Team 4, okay, came in. They told him to start lifting weights. He weighed about 135, little dude. He was kind of defiant about lifting weights. Fucking came in one day, 3 dudes laying on the floor, full kit. Chief was like, get them to the grinder. Okay. He could, the floors in the team rooms are linoleum. He couldn't even pull the kids, like the SEALs, full kit. Couldn't even get them to the door. Okay. They let him struggle for about 10 minutes. And then they said, hey, come on with us. We're going to go downstairs now. They went downstairs. They had a Chiefs board already set up, and they boarded him out of the SEAL team. Took his trident, pulled his trident off his chest, and boarded him out the SEAL team. So I don't really think it's I'm going to tell you this. If Laura Molnar was out there with you at 6'1", 240-pound championship fucking shot putter,
I agree with that. Sure.
She body slammed me in the snow like I was some kind of piece of meat, bruh. So like, but like it's just like you're saying, it ain't a job for pixies. It just ain't. Mm-hmm. Like, I was a bigger dude at 205 pounds, play college football. In IEDs, when someone went down and you had to drag somebody, we all have a drag handle. It's pretty easy for me. But I know, like when I was getting dragged and I got shot in training, like they ain't have an easy time dragging me, you know. And the other thing, you got all your gear catching on branches and everything else, and like, so I agree with you 100%. Like I agree. It's just
So
it looks cool, but the job is
yep.
all dirt, grime, and it just ain't like.
Let me remind people. People forget this too. I'm wearing 120 pounds of kit myself already. So if my buddy goes down, I'm carrying 120 pounds of extra weight already before I have to lift his 300-pound plus body up or drag him to cover. So the amount of strength now, granted, you're under the most insane amounts of adrenaline and things like that in those moments. Yes, it helps, but that adrenaline doesn't last forever. And if you've got I'm sure you've done some horrible casualty carry events and training and stuff like that, where it's like, now we got to move this dude miles, right? And now all of a sudden that adrenaline's not saving you. And it's just sheer muscle mass, muscle strength, and muscle endurance that's going to allow you to get your casualties to safety. And the reason why I take it so seriously is I've been on missions where we took so many casualties, we got mass called off objectives. We could not even make it to target because we took so many casualties. And that means one dude is carrying multiple bodies to aircraft and things like that back and forth. And so, no, I'm sorry. I just, like Jake said, not even male or female, but 130-pound SF dude he's not going to get the job done physically. I mean, it's not physically possible a lot of these times, right? And that's why in Olympic weightlifting, the 140-pound bracket doesn't compete against the 270-pound heavyweights, or in fighting, right? So, but in combat doesn't have weight classes. It doesn't give a fuck. Everybody's at the heavyweight weight class at all time, you know?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I want to take a look at the actual Ranger School standards and see what you think. Because I went through these in my video, but I think we'll talk about if it actually will make it harder for women. Okay, I think it's going to make it harder for everybody for sure. But is it skewed? That's kind of my thing. Is like, is this skewed towards being an advantage for men or not? So should be able to share screen. Yeah, we're getting fancier in these episodes, guys. All right, so here's again, Ranger School is getting a new fitness assessment. Army's Ranger School, long regarded as one of the most grueling leadership courses in the military, rolling out new physical fitness assessment, and which goes into effect next week. First class, April 21st.
This is just the Ranger School. I was thinking RASP, and no, we're talking about just regular
Ranger School. Yeah, RASP, you would expect them to like make the standards way hard, but this is just everybody in the military's generic Ranger School, right? That
this ain't
they
bad.
have. Well, we'll see, right? So the old one, so you know, Jake, I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's a standard PT test with a 5-mile run instead of a 2-mile run. So push-ups, sit-ups, 5-mile run in 40 minutes, standard 8-minute pace, and then you do six chin-ups at the end of that. That was the old one.
Yep.
What the new one is going to be is in Army combat uniform and boots. And I can tell you guys, and Jake knows, this sucks ass when you talk about doing running events and things like that.
Hey, I'll say this, Nate. In the SEAL teams, you run a lot in maybe not boots, but you'll see if there's 100 guys running, there'll be 25 guys running with boots on and utes. Like a lot of dudes only ran in pants, right? They'd have a t-shirt on. Yeah.
We do it a lot. I'm just saying it fucking sucks, especially in Georgia. If you're in a summer class, I'll tell you, it ain't great, right? So you got 14 minutes to do an 800-meter run, and I'm gonna go out and try this just to see what it's like. But you do an 800-meter run, 30 dead stop push-ups. These are like the hand release push-ups. I think this is actually going to be easier than the standard push-ups of anything. A 100-meter sprint. Then you got an event in which students lift 16 40-pound sandbags onto a 68-inch platform, kind of like a little strongman lift, but with only 40 pounds.
Ooh.
So you're going to lift the sandbag up, put it on the platform. You got to do that 16 times.
I'm 67 inches. That's above my head. Like I got to, that's a legit one right there.
Yeah. 40 pounds, 16 times. You got a 50-meter farmer's carry consisting of 2 40-pound 5-gallon jugs, so 80 pounds there. You got a 50-meter movement drill consisting of 25-meter high crawl. That's going to suck. And then 25-meter 3 to 5 second IMT rush. you finish it up with another 800-meter run. That is all has to be done in 14 minutes. Okay, that seems like, yeah, that'll be a ball smoker.
Okay, hang on,
But
Nate.
that's not the end of the PT test.
Oh, that's just the start.
That's the start before you do then the
Yeah.
standard.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is my point, Jake, is they dropped 1 mile off the 5-mile run, but added all of this other shit you have to do before that 4-mile run. And I can tell you, like, when you are going to be, your lower body is going to be smoked to shit.
Let's just look at this from a time perspective, Nate. Okay, so
yeah,
800-meter run, 4-minute pace. 8-minute pace. You're looking at 4 meters or 4 minutes for the run. So that gives you 4 minutes for 800. Let's say, I mean, at that spot, you probably running. No, you ain't running minute 30. You're running 3.5 minute 800s, 3.5, 4 minute 800s. Let's just say
boots
4
and
minutes.
Uniform.
Yeah, boots and uniform, 4 minutes. So, okay, so that's 8 minutes of the 14 minutes. That leaves you with 6 minutes to do everything else in the middle. Oh, yeah, this is a ball. This, I'm going to tell you right now, Nate, you're going to see the amount of failures at Ranger School go through the roof because now
I agree.
Every infantry officer is required to be Ranger tabbed to be considered a qualified infantry officer. Oh yeah, buddy. All them little fucking pixie ass, sweet asses from West Point.
Exactly.
Oh, they ain't doing this. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, 4 miles in 32 minutes is first phase time, and that shit ain't easy. Right?
Nope.
Not boots and utes. And
so
you
I
get
think
smoked.
You do get to change into tennis shoes and shorts for the final 4-mile run.
For the run.
Okay.
Yep.
But like Jake said, guys, like when you do this fresh, an 8-minute pace is pretty, it's cooking for a little bit, right? For just a run. And now you're going to do all of this crazy. And you're going to have to do it, like Jake said, you're going to have to do this pretty fast. Like you can't just lollygag jog these 800 meters in both of these.
No.
I got plenty of time. Like you're going to be pushing every one of these events. You're going to be pushing the speed. And so when you get done with all of these events and you have to do that 4-mile run, it is going to be brutal if you don't have insane muscle endurance and cardio. But question then is this sort of skewed against women? So I kind of went through this. I don't think it is as much as people think, but I do think there are some events that obviously men will have a better advantage of. Right here, I think the event where you got to lift these 40-pound sandbags up onto the 70-inch platform, advantage to men. Men are usually bigger, taller, stronger, upper bodies, right, to get that up there. The farmer's carry, 100% will be men advantaged, big, stronger wrists, stronger forearms, stronger traps. But other than that, it's very... I think the push-ups, this will actually be easier for women than the regular Army, than the original Ranger School push-ups, because this is the hardest one typically for females, and this is easier. So I think actually, in my opinion, because it's very lower body focused, I think it's going to be way harder, but I don't think women are really I think women probably can pass this.
Oh, absolutely. And the other thing I'm going to say is, the sneakiest exercise on this whole list is the 50-meter movement drill. Because I'm going to tell you, in wrestling, you do shoot sprawl drills where you're running around the mat, you shoot, you sprawl, you get up. Like, it wears out your whole body getting up off the ground. If you're doing 25-meter, 3 to 5 second rushes, right? I'm up, they see me, I'm down. And I know it's only 20. Man, there's just so much sneakiness in this. Like, I think what you're going to see is you're going to see a bunch of guys not prepared for this, show up thinking they're going to gut it out. And they're not going to finish the 4-mile time run. Like, they'll finish it, but they're going to finish it in like 36 minutes. Like, I'm going to tell you right now. So here's the other thing, Nate, that's going on. That we're talking about females, but I don't think this is female driven. I'm going to tell you what this is. So the Army has a huge glut of infantry officers right now. And they are purposely trying to get rid of people out of the pipeline and force them into other jobs in the Army because they have too many. And so if you ask me, this is pushing towards, oh, you're not Ranger qualified. Okay, great. Well, you know what? Hey, here's the deal. You can't be a infantry officer, so we're gonna rebrand you into supply, right? Like you're gonna go
Yeah.
do something else. So there's, I don't think this is a female thing as much as this is a, we're just upping the standards back to where they used to be. We're gonna make it fucking legit. Like let's be honest, Nate. The Ranger tab is not the Ranger tab that I knew in the 90s. It ain't.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. All right. Real quick super chat. Kangaroo bot, $5. What if females were allowed to take performance enhancing drugs to pass their PFT test? Don't be shocked that a lot of them probably are, homie, but that's not necessarily different than men as well. Think about PEDs, guys, or steroids, whatever you want to say. There are very few steroids or performance enhancing drugs that will help you in massive cardio based muscle endurance events, right? So TRT, yeah, if you have super low testosterone, that's going to help. But like trenbolone, all these bodybuilding steroids will, like, if you are on a lot of these PEDs, you are not going to pass that test. It's a huge hindrance.
So I tell everybody, all the muscles in the world don't help you be successful in special operations. More muscles doesn't equal more success. I tell everybody, go look at the professional triathlon runners. Go look at them, right? They're doing a 2-mile swim, a 108-mile bike, and a 26-mile run. None of them dudes are jacked. Why? Because in endurance sports, I don't need jacked. I need muscle endurance. You get muscle endurance from doing a lot of endurance shit, right? Like, and more muscles. Like PEDs, you know, you said test. I tell everybody, test is a herder. Test in the SEAL team is going to get you SIPE, pulmonary induced swimmers edema, right? Like pneumonia. So thickens your blood, doesn't allow your blood to carry as much oxygen. There's a whole bunch of bad things to performance enhancing drugs. But I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna pass this test, you're gonna be a stud. And that's what they
Real
want.
quick,
Go ahead.
Comment in the chat. Somebody thinks I'm confused about how much weight I carried on my own kit in combat. Very, like, the audacity of you to say that, first of all, is shocking.
What?
because GBRS said they only carried 60 pounds of kit. Let me tell you a little difference between DevGru and being a Green Beret, homie. When I go out on target, I only have 12 dudes. Okay. I'm carrying fucking everything you could possibly imagine. I'm carrying body armor, helmet, way more ammunition than DevGru has to carry, way more grenades than DevGru has to carry, water, food, communications equipment. Why? Because I don't have 30 dudes and I'm not doing a point target raid. I'm probably going to be out there for 12 to 38 hours. Who knows how long? So yes, I can assure you the minimum weight I ever had on my body and just point target nighttime raids was about 105 pounds at the lightest.
At the lightest.
And it scales dramatically up for that if I'm doing remain over days and I got to carry bigger. I'm carrying 117 Gulf or PS5 radios, batteries. Guys, you don't really understand. The medics are carrying Skedcos. They're carrying all this crazy shit. We don't have the luxury of some of these point target hit units that are going to come in for 2 hours and be out. Like we have to, as Green Berets, hump fucking everything in. And that's why in our Q course, Robin Sage, my rucksack was 132 pounds. My rucksack, not including my kit, my weapon, my ammunition. So,
all right, Nate, I'm gonna ask you the magic question. Were you carrying ammunition in Robin Sage?
Oh yeah. Yes.
You had real ammunition?
Well, blanks, but I mean it's still weight.
Let me say this. The biggest shock I had in the SEAL teams physically is when I had been wearing my kit around with no rounds in it. And then I put rounds and grenades and 40 Mike, and I weighed it, and it was like it was 43 pounds of just bullets. Then when I got into a platoon, the number one weight getter is batteries for the radio.
Yep, there it is.
And I'm telling you, them, like, they needed to invent a hydrogen fuel cell because that would save you probably 35 pounds. Like, you going out for 4 or 5 days, and I know you guys go out a lot longer than we do, but if we were going out for 3 or 4 days, I mean, shit, you're gonna have so many pounds of batteries to make sure the radios work. Like, it was astronomical.
Yeah. Now, if you're in CAG or you're in DevGru and you're doing a hostage rescue point target raid you're going to be on the ground for 45 minutes, yeah, you have probably about 60 pounds of kit because you have your M4, your body armor you have on your body, a couple grenades, some medical equipment. That's it. You're in, you're out. and you got to be able to move
But
fast. But
but
for
the other
normal
thing,
combat, and this isn't just Green Berets. Think about infantrymen. Anybody
yep.
who's in the chat who's in the infantry, you were humping hundreds of plus pounds as well. Everything you did.
And here's the other thing, Nate, and I think people don't understand this. When Dev Group goes out the door, they got AC 130 overhead, Predator drone. They've got a quick reaction force, whether it's the Rangers
Mm-hmm.
or somebody else.
Resupply on station, ready if
They
they
got
need it.
resupply in a helicopter. They got a couple
Yep.
Dev Group dudes standing by to resupply. They got sniper overwatch,
Yep.
and you're going out there with, like, let's just call it 24 to 30 of the best shooters in the world, and a
Mm-hmm.
target is going to be presented for about 0.4 seconds before someone shoots it, right? Like,
Yep.
they, like, that ain't happening in normal forces. It ain't happening in white side seals. It ain't happening in green berets. Like, like, I know on my SEAL platoon there was, let's say, out of the 16 dudes, probably 10 of them could really shoot. But then there
Yeah.
was 6 dudes. Like, we had a dude in my platoon couldn't hit the broadside of a fucking barn, bro. Like, at 7 yards, he was struggling to hit the target. I'd be like, God damn. But he was the medic. He was really fucking good. So no one cared,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yep.
big
All right.
difference. Big difference.
Real quick, super chat from Skeptic, $10. Thank you, brother. Do you think they will reevaluate current soldiers who have already been let in? Well, yeah. I mean, because you don't do one PT test in basic training and you're done, dude. We do usually a PT test every month. And so, yeah, you'll be constantly reevaluated. And what they'll do is you have to continuously probably meet the Army combat fitness test or you're going to get booted out. I will say, I can't tell you guys exactly what it was because obviously the echelons this came down from were really high and how I got the information wouldn't be okay to say. But I will tell you this. The top levels of Special Forces Command are not happy with how fucking out of shape and overweight the regiment is as a whole. And there is some serious discussions about what penalties may be if you can't pass the Army combat fitness test from our side in Army Special Forces. And I'm
So,
talking
Nate, let me ask
severe.
this. Let me ask this, okay? So you're telling me, let's just say first group, okay? Fort Lewis, Washington. You're telling me that the let's say that the '06 in charge of first group is unhappy with the physical standards of his command.
Mm-hmm.
What are your E fucking nines doing, or your warrants?
Well, most of them are so broken at that point that they can't do PT anyway. So nobody at the command level is doing PT. Now that's not
Oh my
universal.
god!
There's definitely some typically the commanders are in way better shape than the E9. Why? Because they did 2 years on a team and been admin for 17 years, right?
No, no, no. I wasn't comparing the '06s. I'm like, so I'm gonna tell you this: at a SEAL team, that
You
would
mean
never happen.
why the NCOs aren't keeping commands in
Yeah,
check
like
or
like
in,
like
in
like
check for physical
it would
fitness? Yeah.
it would never happen in the SEAL teams. You would never go. Now I will say this. Okay, have I seen a 300-pound fucking logging beer bellied motherfucker? I have. Okay, and I'm not gonna say no names, but my Master Chief ran Pickett. He had been at Pickett for almost 15 years when I got there. Vietnam dude, been in the Navy almost 40 years as a Master Chief. He wasn't doing shit but running training. And
Yeah.
everybody fucking loved him. And if you needed something, a case of beer got you, whatever you needed. But
Yeah.
at commands, bro, you're not ever gonna walk into a SEAL command and there be a bunch of dudes, like fat dudes with beer bellies. Like, that ain't gonna fucking happen.
So it's not common, right? But that is a running joke stereotype of Green Berets, like fucking old fat Green Berets. The Halo team, bunch of fucking fat Green Berets. There's more probably out of shape fat Green Berets than there are in any other special operations unit by far. However, I will say we are also much older, and much of those old fat Green Berets are in their 40s, and they've had 7 knee surgeries and 6 combat deployments, and their back's been fused in 3 places, and so not that I don't think that's an excuse. I think guys use it as an excuse and then let themselves go on top of that. Because I'm beat to shit, but I'm able to stay in decent shape. But again, yeah, I mean, we do have that problem. And apparently what happened was there was a picture that started circulating a couple weeks ago of like a 300 plus pound SF colonel with like gut out to here, you know that uniform, how it barely
Yeah,
covers
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
gut.
yeah,
You've seen
yeah. They
that with
look
some of those
pregnant. They
guys.
look pregnant and shit.
So we had one of those circulating, and yeah, the SOCOM was not happy to see that type of thing. So I want to talk about the new combat fitness standards. I don't have it up here. We'll just talk about it. But so Pete Hegseth has made the decision, and this is, again, we talked about it earlier, whether we think it's to keep women out of combat or not. I think Jake, I think you're right when you say it's to keep people who shouldn't be in combat out of combat. But the decision is we're going to have one gender neutral standard. And actually, what's interesting is the way, Jake, so from the history of the ACFT, it's gone through a lot of changes and a lot of controversy. When they first started it in 2022, it was a universal standard non-gender. The problem then was, do you know what that was? What they found when they started running it, when they had
None of
that
the women
standard?
could pass.
None of the women could pass the standard. And so
Yep.
they said, this is social scientists who suggested this are way out of line, right? It's that women shouldn't have to have the same standard in combat and all these different things, whatever. So what got changed? Yes, women got a brand new standard. Obviously, the standards are all lower compared to the men. So that's what this change is it's back to the original. Now we have one standard, and I could pull. Are you tracking what the ASCFT has in it? I could pull it up probably
Is
if you
that
need it.
the? I mean, I got an
Army
idea.
Army Combat Fitness Test.
Yeah, I got an idea. It's like buddy drag and a bunch of stuff like that, right? There's 50-meter drag,
Yeah,
person
I'll put it up
drag,
on the screen so you can see. But there's like a
deadlift.
deadlift.
Yeah,
So it's kind of like what we just talked about with the Ranger School one, but it's more kind of like
it's like more lifting,
weightlifting
right?
esque.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. More
Oops,
lifting.
not script.
You know, it'd be interesting.
Uh,
300-pound deadlift is legit, right? Like
315. Yeah.
315-pound deadlift, 3 plates, right? Like we know.
Here we go.
Mm.
So here it is up on the screen. 3 max repetition deadlifts. 315 is the maximum score, right? If you do 315 3 times, that's 100%. Standing power throw, so big wall ball throw, hand release push-ups, sprint drag carry, which this is the shittiest one, planks, and then the very end of it is a 2-mile run. And yeah, you do these back to back, and then immediately go out for the run. So what they're going to do now is they're not changing this, but they're making the minimum score to pass much, much higher for combat arms. So it's going to be, I don't think they've decided exactly where. They're talking about maybe around like 440, 450. What's your thoughts on that? Looking at this, I mean, if we jack the standard up, and it's so you understand, Jake, the current men's standard to pass, the standard for everyone will be higher than the current men's standard. So it's not that they're just going to make women have to meet the men's standard. They're raising it for everyone and including women.
So this is, Nate, this is one of those that I look at and I'm kind of like, anytime we start talking about power ball throw, I'm like, I remember when I was at the Naval Academy, going to Naval Academy, we had to do the ball throw in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just kind of like, okay, what is this measuring? Like tell me that. Now, sprint drag carry, well, shit,
Yeah.
we know what that's measuring. Okay.
Right.
Planks, you know, they were saying sit-ups were hurting people's backs. Okay, whatever. 2-mile time run. I think anything running is very applicable. And then, you know, deadlifts. I personally don't like deadlifts, but I understand it's a lot easier to use deadlifts because it's kind of in the middle of squats and it's an overall body measure of strength. And but like, I mean, I don't know. Like I say this at the SEAL teams, if you put this up there right now, I probably could do it. I'll say I could do it 5 times in a row and pass all 5 times. Right?
I'll say, yep, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Nate. You're good.
I'll say the thing about the ACFT is it's like if you can, it's out of 600 points. That's the maximum. I usually got around a 592, and the reason is like it's got standards to where getting 100% is extremely, extremely hard. You have to be an absolute freak, but meeting the minimum score is insanely easy. So like the difference between 100% on the 2-mile run is like a 1330 for 2 miles is 100%, but you can get like 21 minutes and still pass. So like it's like this huge
scale.
and that was the current one. So what I think they're going to do is shore up that bottom end to where you actually have to be in pretty good shape. But I agree with you. ACFT, I don't think the ACFT is hard at all if you're an
So
in
let me
shape
let me
dude.
ask you this, Nate. When I was in the SEAL teams, I could run a 1330 I probably could have did that pretty easy for 2 miles, right? Like,
Hmm.
and I'm gonna tell you right now, if you ask me 10 miles, I'll say somewhere between 4 and I'll even modest it down. Somewhere between 3 and 5 times, I would max this every time. Right now, and I will tell you this: the top end of the SEAL teams would max this. They'd be able to max it like 10 times. They'd be able to run 20 miles, 10 of these and max them out.
So let me also caveat, Jake, when I said I usually get around like a 590 ish, that was at the end of my career. That means after 5 knee
Absolutely.
surgeries, after 2
Absolutely.
shoulder reconstructions, after
Yeah.
2 back surgeries. At 27, 28, yeah, I would max this thing, like you said, 3 times in a row. Like
Yeah.
it's a
Like,
very in
like,
shape operator is going to absolutely demolish this thing.
and so like I want people to understand when you're in the SEAL teams, we have these things called monster mashes. Okay. And it's like a Friday. So normally Fridays we go home at noon. And so you'll come in, they'll tell you, hey man, tomorrow big monster mash. They won't tell you what it is, but basically you're gonna go home and carb up. I carved up every night because I'm like, fuck that. These motherfuckers, you never know what you're gonna get when you show up, right? It's Tuesday swim day. It might be Tuesday 4 mile ocean swim, like so you'd come in and they'd be like, all right, here's the monster mash. We're gonna do 4 reps of whatever it was. Like, okay, you're gonna climb the rope twice, you're gonna run over here, you're gonna drag this back and forth, you're gonna push this truck around, you and 4 people are gonna push the truck around the compound, and then you're gonna run a 3 mile run. We're gonna do it 3 times. Right. And so then you'd have your you'd normally do them in groups of like 4. Sometimes it'd be 6 or 7. Like if a boat was involved, because sometimes you paddle boat, man. How you gonna paddle boat out around, come in on the like it's like a 5 mile boat paddle. So like
Yep.
we did stuff like this all the time. And it wasn't like there wasn't nobody like, oh God, I can't make it. Oh my God. Like in my team, the slowest dude was the CO, and he was in his mid-40s.
Yeah.
Right. And so it would just be like, and it actually made it easier for everybody else because you couldn't leave them, so you just stay with them. But we still finished second. We
Yeah.
finished second out of like 7, 8, 9, maybe 10 boat crews. And we had the CO, one of the slowest runners. So I want people to think about like, hey man, we talking about long-term endurance athletes. Like if you wanted me to go
Hmm.
run 6, 7 hours, it was easy. If you wanted me
Hmm.
to, you know, fucking go swim for 5 miles. It wasn't even hard. Like I just go do it. Now, would I be tired at the end? Yes. Would I have to go rest and get some food? Yes. But if I had to do it again the next day, I mean, shit, dive phase. I know you know this. In dive phase, we were doing like 6 mile dives 2 times a day. Cat's like,
Mm.
no way. I'm like, yeah, 12,000 yards twice a day, all day. Yes.
Yeah, and that's like training. And like what I tell people, I talk about like a normal combat operation for us on foot. Like there's usually a couple kilometer movement we're gonna make. We're usually out there 14 plus hours, even at the shortest ones, carrying 100 plus pounds of weight on your body for 14 hours straight while just ruck marching. And but that's not even necessarily if you're getting in a gunfight and things get crazy. Just the muscle endurance you have to put 100 pounds on your body and just move around. Think about, for those of you at home, if you just put on 100 pounds on your body, right, and you just go about your day, all 14 hours, you got to carry it, everything you're doing to the mall, to Home Depot, and all that, and just see what your body feels like at the end of that day. And like Jake says, though, you do that for years and years and years. At the end of combat operation, it's like I don't even feel the weight. You don't even feel the weight on you, because you've just been doing it for so long. Real quick, Jake, super chats, K Day, $10. Can you talk about the Battle of Tucker Gar, Roberts Ridge? I have to do a presentation about it. Do you have any insight on the Medical Service Corps did also? I would honestly say, man, I've got 10
What
videos on this that'll walk
what
you through everything.
what was he saying about the medical stuff, Nate? He got to
He
do a
said, do you have any
medical
insight on the Medical Service Corps did also? So I'm
medical
assuming,
service corps at where? At Roberts Ridge?
I'm not tracking.
Hey man, ask your question a little bit more clear because I know a lot about the medical service corps, but I don't understand the correlation with Roberts Ridge.
I don't know if they are correlated if it was two different questions. But yeah, for Roberts Ridge, man, I've got 8 videos on that. You can walk start to finish. Watch those YouTube videos. If you're writing a report, I did all the research and work for you. Just watch the videos and got your answers. If you have something else, just put it in the chat. All right, next one, Skeptic. $20. Thank you, brother. What happens to the people who get bounced out of SOF? Do they get reassigned to something else? That is a good question. And this might be different. This might be different for each of the branches. What Jake has, I'll go first and let Jake say what they do in the SEALs. But I'll tell you this: we are not like the SEALs. I don't think I swear, and it drives us all fucking crazy. We refuse to get rid of dudes, man. We will hide dudes and like, hey, you're gonna work in the arms room for the next 13 years. Hey, you're gonna be the S1 clerk for the next 10 years, right? Like, we just won't get rid of dudes. So, and I'm talking like the dudes that are fucking fat and out of shape and like they shot themselves at the range, like all that shit. We just won't get rid of them.
Oh, buddy.
I've seen 3 or 4 dudes shoot themselves at the range or in team rooms and just like, okay, like you kind of get stuff somewhere. So for me to say, if you get kicked out of the regiment, Special Forces regiment, and you get your braided tab pulled, you're probably in Leavenworth, because that's about the only way. Like, you did something criminal, DUIs, and you're most likely, if you get kicked out of the regiment, you're also getting kicked out of the military, is my point. So what happens to them? Those guys, we don't have like a, hey, you don't meet the standard, take your beret and send you to the regular army. We don't really do that. Maybe you guys have different.
Oh,
I think it's
yeah.
probably a lot more harsh over there.
Oh, yeah. But let's talk about this, Nate. How many guys you got in the Green Berets at any one time? 5,000?
About 6,000. Yeah.
6,000. Okay. So when I was in, we were rocking 2,400. So it's a totally different animal, right? Now, I will tell you this. I've seen let's go over what it takes to get kicked out of the SEAL teams.
Yeah.
Dude had 9 DUIs. The last DUI.
What?
Yeah, 9 DUIs. The last DUI was on a bicycle. He was drunk coming to work in the morning and crashed into the gate and got a DUI. Okay, it's
Probably because he couldn't drive a car anymore because he had 8
No,
DUIs.
yeah, he had his license taken at like 5, so he was
Yeah.
riding his bike all over the place, right? Like it was sad, man. It was sad. He had no family, nothing, and they pulled his shit, man. I don't ever know what happened to him. I told you the one where the guy couldn't carry the weight. They pulled his shit. So here's what they do. You got 6-year enlistment. By the time you get to the SEAL teams, normally you're done with about 3 years, 4 years of it. So if you just re-enlisted, they may let you go to some other rate, but now they got the SO rate. So you would have to re-rate. A lot of times they'll just let you get out the Navy.
Really?
Yeah, like they not, because here's the deal. You're going to send some fucking Navy SEAL to bosun's mate school and then to a ship. Like, you're going to have fucking problems, man. And it's not that many. Like if in my 3 years in the teams, I saw 2 guys at my team get kicked out, right? And I'll talk about this other one because I thought that was just fucking most ridiculous shit in the world. Okay. So I know this dude really well. He was in Buds right in front of me. We share something in common. Okay. He was a college graduate and he tried to take a ceramic knife through the fucking airport security. Okay. So the first time he gets caught, no big deal. Fuck whatever. Master Chief comes out. What the fuck are you doing? He's like, oh, I just left it in my bag. Second time he gets caught, they're like, hey, motherfucker. Like, bruh.
Yeah.
Okay. So then I get involved. They want to make sure that this is a fair and not, unbiased kind of. I talk to this motherfucker and I'm like, bro, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
Like, he's like, oh man, he's one of them dudes that's smarter than everybody else. Okay. So I just say, hey, bro, like, I try not to do nothing wrong because I know we know where we're at. So anyway, long story short, this motherfucker was driving to DC, partying with his sister, okay, and driving back to training the next day. So DC from Pickett is like 3 hours. So he's getting like 2 hours of sleep a night, partying all fucking night. Motherfucker fell asleep on his gun at the range. after being busted twice in the airport with a fucking ceramic knife. Okay. So they were like, hey, man, toodaloos. Okay. Now, they did send him to the fleet, but he had a really high college GPA, put his package in to go fly, went and flew F-14s in the Navy. Okay. Now he's a commercial airline pilot murdering it. But like I say, if they're going to kick you out in the teams, it's normally a cascade of really dumb events. DUI and kick you. Well, let me say
It does
this.
now. It's a little
A
bit different now.
DUI will get you kicked out now. Okay. But back when I was in, you needed like 3 DUIs before they would even start doing anything about it. So
It's so funny you say that, Jake, because I had a bunch of teammates when I first got to the teams that had DUIs while they were in, and that was like that nobody got kicked out. It was like, yeah, you'd have sergeant majors with like 3, 4 DUIs, and like
yep.
in the 90s, you know what I mean, and then early
Yep.
2000s. But that has been alcohol related incidents has been rehauled. You get a DUI, pray to God that you can stay in the military at this point.
Yep.
Because they will boot you. All right, real quick, we got a follow up from K-Day, $20 on the Medical Service Corps. Said for Jake, I'm having trouble understanding exactly how the Medical Service Corps were used during the battle or Operation Anaconda in general, i.e., what was their plan or strategies to support that battalion and the troops? I didn't even know the Medical Service Corps were there, so that's Jake's gonna have to take that.
So listen, like first of all, you're dealing with Dev Group. They have an on-site tactical surgical team with them. Okay, so they got a
We would
forward.
even have that sometimes.
Yeah, like they're gonna have a forward pushed MASH doctor. Normally it's so I know one personally. He's a colonel. He does open heart surgery during the week. And
Yeah.
then when the military needs him, they call him and he's on a fucking flyaway. He's an old ass man in his late 60s. He came down here for every year he has to come to Fort Sam for doctor training where they take him to the woods, teach him to shoot, do all this dumb shit that doctors don't do. But he's a world-renowned heart surgeon, and he's on a MASH team. He said he travels with him. He has a secondary doctor. He has 2 trauma nurses, and he has an anesthetist. It's a 5-man team, roughly. They are forward deployed, and he said a lot of times we will be one step behind the troops. So wherever they launch from, they're going to set up their little surgical inflatable MASH unit, surgery unit. He said if it's a big unit, then they'll have another surgical team with them so that they can handle multiple casualties, and they may plus up the level of trauma nurses and anesthetists. He said, but like it's a whole traveling back end that follows tier 1 units, right? Like Dev Group and all those guys. And he said the other thing he said is if it's some austere fucking shit ass country, they may be inserted with them at the first rally point, and they will set their shit up there with fucking QRF support. So
yeah, that makes. I'm glad you say that because it's also we would use that. We don't have them dedicated, but when we would have that is anytime we would be outside medical rings. So the way you guys know, in operationally, you have to be within basically an hour flight time of a major trauma or surgical center to be allowed to go and do these combat operations by the end of Global War on Terror.
Yep.
And so the few missions that we had these, and they're medical support teams. Now it makes sense to me what it is. We would have surgeons that would basically ride into a area, like Jake said, within that hour window. That way we could do targets. It was mainly up in Kazaruzgan where we were going, where it was 2-3 hour flight to the nearest trauma center. And so that's what we would do. We would stash them on an AC or a C-17 or something like that, and they would gear out all their surgical stuff and just be ready to take casualties so that they could actually provide like full on surgical treatment if we had dudes go down. So good question. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, I mean, that makes sense from what Jake said.
Yeah, so like Anaconda wasn't no different. They had the same setup, right? They had their MASH units. There's a tier 1 surgery unit down at Bragg for the D boys. I got a doctor going over there. I'm kind of fired up about it. It's been like a 6-year process for him. And so we're starting medical school now, and they're paying for his education, which is awesome. Like he's going to be a tier 1 surgery trauma dude. And as you know,
awesome.
Nate, I mean, you know about this. All your deltas are in the hospital every 6 months doing, a 3-week rotation in a trauma hospital, getting real world fucking
Yep.
trauma shit with bullet holes. So, hey, real quick, I got a super chat. Hey, what's going on, sir? I'm 18 years old. I'm 5'10", 230. My mile and a half time is under 930, which is good. I do 15 pull-ups, swim a 930, deadlift, whatever. Reps. Should I lose the weight or keep it?
Good question.
I would say this 5'10", 230. I'm not really concerned with the weight, but I want that run time at 9 minutes and I want that swim time at 9 minutes. So you probably would be better off like 5'10", 215. But I'm not worried about the weight. All I care about is the run times. If you're 230 and you can run a 9-minute consistently, then I don't give a shit about your weight.
Yeah, I agree. Here's where I will get a little bit of caveat. I would say if you can lose extra weight, lose it. Okay. 30 pounds, right? For comparatively, operationally, I was about 225. Q course, I was about 195, 200 maybe when I got a little bit further into it. One, you honestly, every human being in the world, the more weight they lose, the faster they are in running. I mean, you're just carrying less weight, and that, especially for long distance running, all of a sudden, that extra 20 pounds, carrying 20 pounds over that 5 miles is a shit ton of weight at the end of that. So, yeah, go ahead.
I got the formula for you, Nate. It's 2 pounds per inch of height. So if you look
Mm.
at a world-class runner, they are 2 pounds roughly per inch of height. So I'm 67 pounds. I'm supposed to weigh 134. I'm 234. I ain't running very fast.
But so my point is also, it's a long, long, long school. Even buds into SQT, SFQC. So that extra, you're sitting at 235 pounds. I'm going to tell you this as a bigger dude myself. That's a lot of extra weight on your joints, homie. And are you prone to injuries when you're 30, 40 pounds bigger than you probably could be? Yes, especially just longevity issues in your tendons, your ligaments. So I would suggest, what do you need to be 5'10", 235 for in the Q course? For me, there was nothing I needed an extra 30 pounds of muscle on over 200 pounds of, like, you're 5'10", 200, you're jacked, dude. Like, you don't need the extra weight. So I would say, like Jake said, get that runtime down. The the better you are at cardio in these courses, guys, the easier life is going to be, right? Like Jake knows,
1,000%.
at the end of
1,000%.
end of day of training, if you're just a cardio god, your recovery is so much easier than everybody else's. You don't feel horrible when you wake up the next morning. So again, think of it, it's a long haul, right? You're not doing one event one day. You are going to do these events every day over and over and over again for a year to a year and a half. So that extra 30 pounds will start to stack up a little bit. So yeah, I think I want to do one final closeout, just an idea after we've talked everything.
Okay.
And that is each give our perspective on, should we allow women in combat arms units?
I got my answer, Nate.
That's just across the board, however you feel. Obviously, this one's, a lot of people say absolutely not, no matter what. A lot of people say yes, no matter what. What's your overall feeling on it?
Okay, so here's my deal. I am pro everybody that's capable. Okay. So when you say combat arms to me, there's two distinctly different combat arms, in my opinion. Okay. There are helicopter pilots in combat arms, pilots, people that are pushing machines. Okay. Like,
Yep.
do I think we could have some female tank commanders? Absolutely. Right. Like, do I think we could? I know we have some badass female fighter pilots. I know that, right? Like we do. We know in the first Gulf War we had a couple of Apache pilots get captured. Okay, they got ravaged. Okay, well let me tell you something. The men that got captured got ravaged too. So
Yeah, that's
say what you
true.
want. Now, when you flip it over to the conventional side of things and you're in the trenches and special forces, I will say this. You know it as well as I do. Dev groups got females over there operating, but they not
Mhm.
assaulters. The D boys got women over there, but they're not assaulters, right? You guys had the whatever females,
CSTs.
the CSTs, right? Like,
Hmm.
do they play a role in combat? Absolutely. But were they very helpful for getting intel out of the females on target. Absolutely. I'm not saying they don't have a role, but I do say this. And I go back to this. 1998, I checked in the SEAL Team 8. I'm in the fucking training center. All the female shit started popping off a little bit. And the first thing that dude said, he's like, I did a tour over with the fucking Israelis. They tried to integrate females, and the men kept stopping on target when a female got shot, and it was fucking detrimental to unit success. And if you want to go find a more liberal place, good luck to you, because I know this. Everybody in Israel serves in the military, and they got every female with a gun, and like they gave them a shot, and it was detrimental to the fucking mission success. I'm gonna leave it at that.
If I heard this, I don't know if you know if it's true, Jake, that they went to all female units in Israel, that the women are actually in separate units than men. And that's
I
sort of
don't
how
know
they
that
went
as
about
on
it.
the big side of things. I don't know. I just know that like
Okay.
in special
I don't know if
forces,
that's true or not.
Yeah,
I just heard that.
I mean, I know this. I can't stop looking at the IDF female Instagram pages because I'm like, all I could think is like, man, I should have played my Jewish card and went over there and volunteered for a couple years, man.
There you go. All right. Yeah. I mean, man, my feeling is I'm trying to think about how to say this without just copying what you said, because it's almost what you said is almost exactly how I feel. I think it's one of those things where it's nuanced, guys. Like, I'm not a staunch, absolutely not no women in a combat arms unit type of guy. I am a staunch, I don't think we need women at the front lines of the infantry, of Ranger Battalion, like in the trenches with the dudes. I don't. I don't think there's any value added, and I think there's a lot of potential negative. Okay. Not that I don't think women can't fire a gun. I just think, like Jake said, men act differently in war when women are around and women get injured. There's a bunch of different reasons for it. But I do think that, man, there is value added in a lot of different ways. Like Jake said, pilots, right? Things like that. Like, does your gender matter? Actually, I think women probably have an advantage as fighter pilots, right? Because they're smaller and it's easier for them to fit in the cockpits and things like that. So, but then also, even in SOF, yes, there's a lot of value for our cultural support teams. And we had them in our missions where they would go out and get information for us. However, they were, 300 meters back with the captain and JTAC and the security teams, not at the front lines, until we had cleared everything. Gunfighting's done. Bring them up, let them do their job. So for me, go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead. No, I got another one, Nate. This is one I just was thinking about. I had on my ship of 270 people, we had 80, let's just call it 80 females. Captain and the XO were females. One of the department heads was females. I will say this, on a ship, I think they serve everywhere, right? Like, you got a whole branch of service. If you want a bunch of women in the military, slap them on ships, right? Like, I was on a ship for 2 years. It was phenomenal, right? Like, they kicked ass. Like, we kicked ass as a ship. A third of the ship was females. So, like, I think there's a massive role for them in the military. I just, like you said, like,
yeah, you start to hear people, women shouldn't even be in the military, stuff like that. I think that's dumb. There's so many jobs. Like the combat arms section is what, 2%, 3% of the military overall.
absolutely.
When you talk about
Yep.
actual combat arms and people who are doing the real gunfighting on the front lines. So my thing is just this, like, can we just use common sense? Common sense says tons of jobs that are valuable for women, even in combat arms units. Like you said, that Ranger Battalion supply clerk, I've got no problem if she's running supply and logistics. However, I don't want to see her trying to lead a team of fucking 19, 20-year-old hitters on target. Like, that's where we sort of say, okay, this no longer makes common sense wise. But I do think my concern with these new standards, Jake, and again, I like them, but if we raise these combat arms standards, and this is for units, to be in a combat arms unit. So if you want to be in, like, I don't know, you guys don't have women in the SEALs, but
82nd. You want to be in the 82nd?
You want to be a pilot. You want to be a pilot. You want to be all these different things. You want to be on the cultural support team. Well, you're in a combat arms unit, and now that female has to meet the basically men's standard to be in that combat arms unit. And now all of a sudden, well, you don't have any women supply clerks. You don't have any women logistics offers. You don't have any female pilots because they can't meet those standards. And now all of a sudden, is it like, does this make sense? Or are we going to be like MOS specific which I think they need to do for these combat arms standards, specific MOSs. If you are in XYZ MOS, I don't know what you guys have for the SEALs as your identifiers, but
11,
if you're an
1160, I think, or 11.
if you're
Well, now you're SOs. Now you're SOs. Like, I don't know
so
what the
whatever
number
that's
is.
Navy SEAL MOSs, Green Beret MOS, Infantryman MOS, Ranger MOS, like this is the basket that have to take the combat arms PT test. But if you're in First Special Forces group and you're a female rigger, okay, if all you have to do is pack my parachute and you're amazing at it, okay, I don't need you to have to take that PT test. Like me personally,
I got
that's how
one
I
for
would like
you,
to see it
Nate.
done.
I got one. I just thought about this. Okay. If they roll this combat standard out to a normal, let's just call it fucking
The 82nd
helicopter
Airborne?
squadron. No,
Yeah.
I'm going helicopters, helicopter squadron.
No, okay.
90% of the pilots will fail, if not
Right.
95. Okay. And when they see 95% of the pilots fail, male and females, it ain't going to be a male and female deal. It's going to be 95% period.
Yeah. Right.
They're going to be like, hey, Seth, I know this shit sounded good, but I got motherfuckers driving goddamn egg beaters around. They ain't doing nothing physical per se. It's a physical ass job, like long hours, like fucking hard as fuck. But, well, we only got 5 people to pass the test out of 100 pilots. So you want to, can we get a break on this for, because that's what's going to happen, right? Like, you know it. Like, there's some certain fields you go to in combat arms where physical fitness is not the best. You go, like, I'll give you one. You go to the fucking civil affairs teams, right? Yep. You go to the fucking you know, what's the ones that drop the leaflets? PSYOPs.
PSYOPs,
you go to PSYOPs, right? Like, because understand this, special forces in the army is 100,000 people, and you got 6,000 Green Berets. You got another fucking probably 10,000 Rangers and all that other shit. But like, you only got 15,000 hitters, right? So you're gonna tell me now, oh shit, you're in fucking special forces, and you gotta be able to pass the test, and they're gonna call Colonel Hegseth and say, hey man, listen, I'm over here in Chem Bio, and if you don't know this, ain't nobody physically fit in this fucking MOS.
Yeah, that's
nobody
true.
passed. So you don't have a Chem Bio in special forces anymore. So you know how this works, Nate. They throw out some dumb shit. The military will come back and be like, hey, listen, okay, that was cool, but we don't have anybody to fly you fucking helicopters anymore because they're all combat MOSs. So
yeah, I agree. And that's my point, where it's like, this has got to be very specific. Like, hey, this is for the grunt. And by grunt, I mean everywhere from infantrymen to Delta Force, right? This is for the frontline dudes on the ground that have to carry bodies out. This is where the standard makes sense. Other than that, like, again, if you make all of First Special Forces group, that's a combat arms unit. But we have hundreds of females, and where there's riggers or in medical or like all these different places, and now all of a sudden they're just gone. And it's like, and like you said, there's a ton of dudes in the support sections that aren't going to meet that standard anyway.
But they're not, like, they don't need to. Like I'll give you a prime example. It just came in my head. We had like 7 armorers or 8 armorers at SEAL Team 8. Okay. They're in the armory shack, which was a pretty cool little room we had. But they were responsible for all the ammunition with the supply person. They were responsible for all of the weapons, right? They managed the weapons locker. Not one of those motherfuckers ever went to PT, ever. They were in the Navy. Like, like most of the time, because like we would go to PT for 2 hours and then go to work, they would come in and do all their shit at like 6, maybe even 5, because they knew, like, we're going to come and draw guns at 10 o'clock and we're going to the range all day. And then they would get their PT in afterwards. But like, they're in the Navy, man. Like for us, you go to SDV team, bruh. There's a whole bunch of divers and all sorts of motherfuckers over there that ain't got no physical fitness, you know? So now that you say it that way, I think, Nate, I don't think it'll be a straight combat arms down the middle. They'll have to adjust it.
We won't have a military. We won't have we won't have combat arms units. You'll have like the hitters, you know, and then no support, no backside support at all. And so it won't make any sense. But
Nate, you know that. So I'm just going to call this. You said common sense, right? they're gonna call Colonel or Major Hegseth and have him come down and say, hey brother, listen, here's what we're dealing with. They're gonna send it right up the chain of command. All right, we got fucking, I don't know, 6,000 Rangers in the groups. We have 24,000 people in support. Okay, of those 24,000 people in support, they're all combat arms. We had 30 pass the test.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna need an adjustment on this. We're gonna need some MOS specific stuff. Like, there's no way. Like what'll happen. Like, fucking, they're not gonna allow the Green Berets not to be combat effective. They're not gonna allow Ranger Bat to not be combat effective. So,
yep.
Except they'd be like, oh, well, that sounded good. Okay, here's the MOSs we're talking about.
Yep.
Oh, we don't have any pilots in the 160th anymore. Like, dog, you tell me this, because I'm gonna throw this out there. Them motherfuckers in the 160th climb out them fucking helicopters, and they look like they just came off a logging site. Beer bellies, best pilots in the fucking world, but in shapeness, nah, bro, that ain't in their fucking wheelhouse. Killing motherfuckers from a helicopter, picking people up and putting them in places, absolutely. So,
yep. All right, I think that was a good one. Pretty concise.
Absolutely,
good chat
bro.
today.
How many people you got in yours?
We were up over 300. We're down in the high 200s right now, but
yeah, see, I don't understand, dude. Listen, we're getting fucking truncated on YouTube. Not us in general, but like YouTube is down right now because I only got I had 200 people in mine. It's crazy, but whatever. We'll get through it.
So, also talking to Jamison, obviously we're a little bit backside stuff. Time of year, man.
Yeah.
Start of spring. Weather out here is gorgeous. Always, a lot of people are just not watching. Cyclical, but we're good. So you got 500 plus total. So yeah, guys, thanks for coming out. Appreciate it. And are you gonna be around next week, Jake? We should probably tell the people if we know.
Yeah. I'll be here next Wednesday. Next Sunday, I'll be here. I got to go climb in the attic for 3 days and fix a leaky roof that I've had for 20 years, and it only leaks when it monsoons. So I'm thinking something's wrong with the flashing or something. But I'm gonna be in an attic for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, getting it.
All right. Well, we will catch y'all next week, everybody. Later.
Yes, sir.
All right. Hell yeah, brother.